Hello, God bless. Thank you for watching. This is part 3 of the Exodus and Revelation comparison. This is going to be involving a lot more than just Exodus and Revelation. It's going to involve Exodus, Revelation, Joel 2, Isaiah 13, and some of these things just kind of, these parallels just kind of bounce. But I think you'll see what the Lord is trying to get across here, and that how these are all tied together. We're going to look at Exodus first, as it has the shortest portion of these locusts in it and what they are like. But the first thing we're going to talk about is so Moses and Aaron go into Pharaoh, and the Lord has hardened, of course, Pharaoh's heart, and they go into his courtroom, and to Pharaoh they say, "Thus saith the Lord God of the Hebrews, how long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me?" So first thing they say, so in other words, if we look at this in a Revelation perspective, this is going to be, this is tied in, okay, first off, these are tied in with the fifth angel, all right, where the locusts are released from the pit. All right, so what the Lord is saying here, what Aaron is saying for the Lord and Moses is, humble yourselves before thy God, and he will stop this essentially. But he hardens Pharaoh's heart, so it's kind of a no-win situation. This is going to happen. The people in the end times are going to be the same way. Now, with these locusts, you'll see in Revelation, these locusts are attacking those without the seal of God on their foreheads. All right, now if you're backslidden, you're still sealed with God. Now you might see terror, you might see, just as Jonah did, you might see Sheol, you might get swallowed up by a great fish. Something's going to happen to you to bring you back to God. All right, but you will not be destroyed, you will not be killed. And the same, what's going to happen is these locusts are for the lost, and they are for the ones that are unrepentant. All right, and you'll see that here in a minute. So we've heard this before, this about humbling ourselves, and if we go to 2 Chronicles 14, 2:14, or I'm sorry, 7:14, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. And this is for Israel, but this is for the individual as well. He will heal their heart. It talks about in, I believe it's Jeremiah. I'm not sure. I'd have to dig around, but it talks about God will take a heart of stone and make it into a heart of flesh. He will heal your hearts. Okay, and that's what he's saying. This goes right along with what the tribulation is going to bring. If you will humble yourself and come before me, you will be saved from this. Okay. Now, what's interesting here is these locusts shall cover the face of the earth, that no one cannot be able to see the earth, and they shall eat the residue of that which is escaped, which remaineth unto you from the hail. Now, what that means is, hail in Exodus was the previous judgment. Hail obviously didn't destroy everything, and then we had, so let's go to Revelation real quick. So we go to Revelation chapter 9, we'll go to chapter 8. So we have all our seals and everything that's been opened up to this point. We're at the seventh seal. We have the golden censer, which I believe is the stone in Daniel 2 that's going to come and destroy the kingdoms. Okay, and then we have our angels starting to sound. Now, the very first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. So, and then we don't see the locusts until the fifth angel. Okay, when the locusts come out right here, smoke, locusts upon the earth. So everything's going according to perfect plan. So what's left from this hail, I don't know if you heard that, that was my dog. So what we have left of this hail, the locusts are going to come and destroy. However, here, the land, the hail is directed toward the green grass. And in Exodus, we see it is also directed toward the vegetation. All right, so let's go back to Exodus. And we go back to Exodus. And there's two things I want to point out here that reflect in Joel chapter 2. Okay, so and the locust, and I'm in verse 14, 10:14. And the locust went up over the land of Egypt and rested in all the coast of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them there were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such. All right, so these locusts, they're different. Okay, they're not your typical run-of-the-mill locust, if you will, insect. Something was very different about these. Very grievous were they. I mean, that's the verbiage in the Bible right there. Very grievous. We could look up the word grievous, whatever you want to look up, but before them there was no such locust as they, neither after them shall be such. Okay, that's point number one. Okay, point number two is, for they covered the, let's see, hold on. Where's it at? There they go. Okay. Point number two in verse 6. And they shall fill thy houses and the houses of all the servants and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have ever seen, since the day that there were upon the earth unto this day. Okay, and he turned himself and went away from Pharaoh. So 2 points. Number one, we can go, doesn't matter what order we go in. Okay, number one is they're going to fill the houses. So in other words, these things are going to overrun everything. Okay, they're going to be everywhere. Fill thy houses, and the houses of all thy servants, and the houses of all the Egyptians. I mean, it keeps going. So the point is, these things are going to be everywhere. Okay? Point two is, very grievous were they. And what my big point is, there's never been anything like them, or shall there ever be anything like them. And that's what I take from those two sentences. But if we go to Joel chapter 2, you're going to see something very neat. Okay, the 2 points here. Point number one. Okay, a great people and a strong. There hath never been the like, neither shall be any more after it. Okay, that's parallel one. Okay, if we go back, you can see this. This is talking about the locust. They are a great people and a strong. There hath never been like it, never shall be any more after it. Same as the locust. Very grievous were they. Okay? Now, point number two, right here, they shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. He's describing the same thing. All right, these insects in Exodus are the same type of characteristics as whatever this is talking about in Joel chapter 2. I believe this is just another picture of the locust coming out of the pit in Revelation chapter 9. Okay, we'll get there in a minute. There's so many parallels, it's hard to keep track of all these. Okay, so there's the 2 points I wanted to make right there. In Joel chapter 2, in Exodus 10, they shall run to and from the city, run upon the wall, climb in the houses. These things are going to run amok. They're all over the place. It even says a little bit before that, a fire devours before them. Let's see. Okay, right here. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. They shall march everyone in his own ways. They shall not break ranks, which means they're going to stay together. Neither shall one thrust another, and they shall walk everyone in his path. All right, and this is very interesting since I'm here. When they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. In other words, these things are not going to be able to die. You're not going to be able to do anything to these things. Okay, so let's pause right there. Okay, we're back at Exodus 10, and we're at verse 15. Okay, here's another parallel, or mirror. For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened. They did eat every herb of the land, and all of the fruit of the trees, which the hail had left, and there remained not any green thing in the trees or in the herbs of the field in all the land of Egypt. Now the mirror to that is, if we go to Revelation chapter 9, is these are told that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, nor any green thing, nor any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God on their foreheads. Okay, so there's the mirror flip effect. All right, they can hurt everything green in Exodus. They can hurt everything but green, or shall I say they can only hurt men and have to leave the green things alone in Revelation. Okay, now let's go back to Exodus, and I'm almost done with Exodus. Now, what I want to bring up here just is something that I didn't get really a chance to search out, but there's an interesting comment in here. And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locust. Now, if you do a search in my program here of east wind, you get a Pharaoh in Genesis. Talked about these ears, these 7 ears which devoured 7 ranks, 7 full ears. I haven't had a chance to really research this, but I thought it was pretty neat. Parallel, maybe something to look at. But like I said, I didn't get a chance to look at it. I was just busy with this. But I thought that was interesting. And then a west wind takes them all away, right here in verse 19. And the Lord turned a mighty strong west wind, which took away the locusts and cast them into the Red Sea. I believe every word in the Bible is for a reason, and there's something to do with this east and west wind. Maybe it has to do with Jesus' return in the wind. He talks about him being from the east to the west. I'm not sure, but something to look at on your own. Okay, switching gears for like 2 seconds. All right, I'm in Isaiah 13. And what I want to show here is how this all ties in. Okay, so if you've watched my previous videos, which I hope you have, when I talk about the Great Delusion, I bring up Isaiah 13. And this is kind of about Babylon, and it kind of ties in with Jeremiah 50:51. It talks about lifting up a banner, which I believe is maybe, I thought it was the comet at first, Comet Ison. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's an asteroid or some other comet. I don't know. But anyway, that's in common with this as well. If you go to Jeremiah 51, it talks about lifting the banner also on the mountain. But what my point that I'm bringing up here is, this is a very interesting verse. It says, I have commanded my sanctified ones, which I believe is the bride of Christ, the select ones, the spies out of the bride. Just as Joshua had this, if you look at Israel, Israel was the bride. They were going to heaven, to the promised land. Joshua was their leader, Jesus, all right, portraying just as Esther does, okay? He had the select ones out of the bride that went into the city to retrieve Rahab, the last of the souls, the last of the harvest. Okay, so I've commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones. And from what I gather, these are angels for mine anger. All right? Even them that rejoice in my holiness. The noise of the multitude in the mountains, like it as of a great people. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the hosts of battle. All right? The hosts of battle. They come from a far country. We talked about this in Joshua 9. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven. All right? That's not on earth, folks. From the end of heaven. Even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation. All right? Weapons of indignation. These are going to be his weapons that he is using against the earth to destroy the whole land. This is it. This is what the Lord is going to bring upon the earth, all right, along with everything else. But these come from the far end of heaven. They are host. Now, let's look at weapons of indignation. This is also in Jeremiah. And it won't go. 50:25. All right. Jeremiah. Okay, so this is Jeremiah 50, verse 25. He hath brought forth his weapons of indignation. This is some people say this is Babylon, this is America. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to believe. I believe it's America. Some people think it's Mecca and a whole other place. Anyway, doesn't matter. He hath brought forth his weapons of indignation. He has opened his armory. These are his tools to use against the earth. Okay? This is exactly these fallen angels, locusts, a great people that have never been seen before, nor ever will be seen again. This is what he's bringing to the earth. Now, we go back here, and let's look at verse 4. The noise of the multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of kingdoms and nations gathered together. That's in Joel chapter 2. Talks about it in a couple different spots. Right here, as in the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, just like we tied this into Exodus. All right, there hath not been or ever seen any more like it. All right, go down a little bit further, like the noise of chariots on tops of mountains shall they leap, like a noise of a flame of a fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained, all the faces shall gather blackness. All right, and it talks about the mighty men and what they are. I'm going to end this with a video. It's about 1 minute long, so please watch it. What it is, it's some sort of senator with a bill on the floor of the House and trying to get it passed. Put the pieces together. I'm gonna edit it and add the what he's saying written, typed as well. Put the pieces together. The government knows this is coming. It's you know, it's obvious. I mean, he's on the floor saying it. But if you put the pieces together, you can see this unfold. So I'm going to have a part 2 to this. This isn't over. I'm going to continue in a part 2 with probably not an Exodus portion. I believe the Exodus portion has been highlighted here. But I'm going to highlight the Revelation 9 and how it ties in with Joel 2 and Isaiah 13 and keep going. But watch this short clip. And thank you, and God bless. And I'll end it with this. Thank you.
Congress shall now vote for approval of H.R. 8791, the Homeland Terrorism Preparedness Bill. Said bill requests emergency response funding up to and including, I'm sorry, this section is classified, dollars to prepare for a national level terrorist attack and or attack from classified. Funding for first responder personnel and vehicles would be doubled if said attack leads to more than 80% of national population being affected by classified. This funding shall commence in conjunction with the first attack on classified or the first large-scale outbreak of classified, dependent upon which comes first. Civilian and military units shall be trained in containment and combat of classified, including irradiated classified, with possibility of classified airborne, classified flesh-eating, classified, and or all of the above in such event as classified spewing, classified escape, are released or otherwise become uncontrollable. Air Force units may also be directed to combat said classified due to their enormous size and otherworldly strengths. Should event occur in urban areas, Jesus, that's classified, far surpassing our darkest nightmares. Should casualties exceed classified body disposal actions, shall be halted and associated resources shall be reallocated to classified underground, classified protected birthing centers. A new Bill of Rights shall be drafted and approved by classified. Having now reviewed the bill, I ask you to please cast your